has just been removed. It has finally happened. Maria Chappelle Nadal has been removed from her post. She absolutely deserved it, as she was yet another liberal to call for the assassination of President Trump. Liberals are being welcomed to normal society. They suffer the consequences of their actions. Nadal is a state senator who called for Trump's assassination and has been successfully removed from her role. This was very quick after her deleted Facebook post and then the Secret Service investigation. Advertisement. Maria Chappelle Nadal made the mistake of posting on Facebook that she hoped President Trump would be assassinated. Imagine a Republican saying this about Obama. That person would have been put in jail the next day. Tuesday morning, Senate Democratic Caucus leader Senator Gina Walsh said Maria Chappelle Nadal is a distraction to senators and released a statement saying she has been removed from all committees. It is important that the Missouri Senate conducts their work without distractions. With that in mind, Senator Chappelle Nadal has been removed from her committee assignments. This will help to ensure the success of the Senate and the state going forward, she said. Advertisement. Before her removal, she was a member of 8 different committees. Well, that's all over now. With the constant stream of rhetoric, hate, and law-breaking by the left, it was overdue for one to face the consequences of their actions. She will be the first of many to be held responsible for their actions. The controversial comment by Chappelle Nadal, made on Thursday, prompted other lawmakers to call for her resignation. The comment was deleted shortly after, but a screenshot was already making the rounds on Twitter. The U.S. Secret Service investigated the post that read, "I hope Trump is assassinated." What do you think about this? Did she get exactly what she deserved? Is this the example we were waiting on? Queen Elizabeth reveals heartbreaking secret hurt her deeply after Diana's death. The Queen was very upset about the critique she received regarding her handling of Princess Diana's death. She agreed to address the nation following the tragic death in the 90s as part of her duty. According to former senior courtier, Sir Malcolm Ross, who was in charge of organizing the funeral, the monarch felt her priority lay with her grandsons in Scotland and both she and her staff were upset at the upsurge of feeling against them. Advertisement. It was the Queen who decided that her former daughter-in-law be given a royal funeral to honor her. This is a classy and respectable move by the long-living monarch. She agreed the Union Jack at Buckingham Palace, and that wrought controversy in itself because of traditions. Philip in Balmoral on August 31, the day of Diana's death, and the royals were criticised for staying in Scotland for another week rather than returning to Buckingham Palace. Advertisement. The Queen made a special public address, on September 5 to share her family's grief with the nation, and agreed to make the speech because of her sense of duty. Sir Malcolm was open about the Queen. She was very strong and didn't reduce the standard of death in the royal family. Her father's death was very high profile and she maintained that standard across the board. The protocols to the royal family are very essential to the monarchy and the people of the UK. Even Diana's own sister, Lady Sarah McCorquodale, says she backed the monarch's judgment. "I used my fringe as a safety blanket," she said, referring to Prince William. If you were the grandmother of a 12-year-old and a 15-year-old whose mother had just been killed in a car crash, she did absolutely the right thing. What do you think of the Queen? Oregon governor signs gun confiscation law, violates 2nd and 14th Amendments. In a disturbing move that reeks of tyranny, Oregon Governor Kate Brown signed a Democrat bill into law that permits the Oregon government to steal guns without notice. The law, based off of Oregon Senate Bill 719, has faced massive resistance from Republicans and Oregon citizens alike. Despite this, the local governments managed to sign it into law. Oregon is no longer a free state. Advertisement. This new anti-Second Amendment law allows all officials in the state of Oregon to order the removal of guns from the possession of free individuals. There is no evidence that is needed to perform the confiscation. The gun owner isn't given a hearing until after. Worse yet, the only way for the gun owner to get his gun back is to file a case and prove his innocence. Yes, this is guilty until proven innocent. It is unconstitutional in more than one way. If we keep ceding our rights, we won't have any left. It's also a direct violation of the 14th Amendment. This amendment gives everyone the right to a formal hearing before his or the tyrannical government steals her property. Advertisement. All persons born or naturalized in the United States, and subject to the jurisdiction thereof, are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law, which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property, without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. The 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution conflicts with the new Oregon law. The law refuses to give citizens due process and then steals their Second Amendment rights. This must be struck down immediately. Despite this massive overreach of the state government, zero mainstream media outlets have reported on it. Not CNN, not MSNBC, and not even Fox News has covered this story in depth. It's high time that this go viral, so that the people of America know what's happening right under our noses. What do you think of this story? Kandee Rice breaks her silence, gives liberals devastating history lesson. Former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice is a smart woman and is admired around the world. She is accomplished and an excellent representation of the best of what America stands for. So when she talks, people, even liberals, tend to actually listen. Advertisement. Which is so rare these days, to have people actually listen to one another rather than shout at each other. She went on Fox and Friends yesterday morning to push her new book, Democracy: Stories from the Long Road to Freedom. She does not shy away from America's past, the good and the bad, which includes slavery and the Civil War. Co-host Brian Kilmeade asked her straight away, "I want to talk about where your book starts, and that's our Constitution. As an African American woman, do you see yourself in this Constitution? Do you think that, when we look at 9 of our first 12 presidents as slave owners, should we start taking their statues down and say, 'We're embarrassed by you'?" In a word, no, Rice said before continuing. Advertisement. I am a firm believer in keep your history before you. So I don't actually want to rename things that were named for slave owners. I want us to have to look at those names, and realize what they did, and be able to tell our kids what they did and for them to have a sense of their own history. Rice is senior fellow at the Stanford School of Business, then gave the liberals an important history lesson. When you start wiping out your history, sanitizing your history to make you feel better, it's a bad thing. She noted that her ancestors were originally counted as 3/5 of a man, and recounted what her father went through just trying to register to vote in Birmingham, Alabama in 1952. She retold a story from 2005 when she stood in the Ben Franklin room of the State Department and was administered an oath of office by a Jewish woman Supreme Court Justice. "That's the story of America," she said before concluding with, "George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and other slave owners were people of their times. What we should celebrate is that from the Jeffersons and the Washingtons as slave owners. Look at where we are now." Micro discovers easy way to defend Trump supporters from hysterical liberals. Micro suffers no fools. He is a hard-working champion of the middle class who adds humor to make serious topics bearable. But one thing he stays away from for the most part is politics. Advertisement. He has in the past stepped up to defend Trump, but he made clear he was defending the office as well as the man, and takes extra delight in smashing liberals against their rocky shores of their hysterical fake outrage. So when Mike posted a question on his Facebook page and one hysterical liberal tried to mock Mike and all Trump supporters and call him a white nationalist, Roe stepped up and smacked the guy back to reality. Chuck Adkins wrote to Mike, "One of the tenets of white nationalism is that college-educated people are academic elitists." Comment? No. I'm not surprised. You never take a political stand because you don't want to alienate anybody. It's bad for business. I get it. But there is a current of anti-intellectualism in this country, promoted by Republicans. Those people love you, and they think your initiative is their initiative. Meanwhile, the rest of the world is kicking our ass academically. Advertisement. And Roe let him have it. Since we're being candid, allow me to say how much I dislike your post. Everything about it annoys me: your smug and snarky tone, your appalling grammar, your complete lack of evidence to support your claims, and of course, the overarching logical fallacy that informs your entire position. What really bugs me though, is the fact that you're not entirely wrong. It's true, I haven't shared any political opinions this week, in part anyway, because doing so might very well be bad for business. What can I say? I work for half a dozen different companies, none of whom pay me to share my political opinions. I run a nonpartisan foundation, I'm about to launch a new show on Facebook, and I'm very aware that celebrities pay a price for opening their big fat gobs. Gilbert Gottfried, Kathy Griffin, Colin Kaepernick, Milo Yiannopoulos. Even that guy from Google who just got himself fired for mouthing off. There's no getting around it. The First Amendment does not guarantee the freedom to speak without consequences. And really, that's fine by me. Smart guy this Mike Roe. I wish all our celebrities were just like him. So no, I'm not going to share my personal feelings about Charlottesville, President Trump, or the current effort to remove thousands of statues of long-dead soldiers from the public square. Not just because it's bad for business, but because it's annoying. I can't think of a single celebrity whose political opinion I value, and I'm not going to assume the country feels any differently about mine, Roe wrote. So, rather than blow myself up, or chime in with all the obvious observations about the cowardly scum in the pointy hats, I'm going to talk instead about my belief that comments like yours pose a far greater threat to the future of our country than the existence of a memorial to Thomas Jefferson, or a monument to George Washington. Ready? Then Mike calmly explained the fact of life to this guy and to every hysterical liberal in America. You say that white nationalists believe that everyone who goes to college is an academic elite. You then say that Republicans promote anti-intellectualism. You offer no proof to support either claim, but it really doesn't matter. Your statements successfully connect two radically different organizations by alleging a shared belief. Thus, white nationalists and the Republican Party suddenly have something in common: a contempt for higher education. Then, you make it personal. You say that Republicans love me because they believe that my initiative and their initiative are one and the same. But of course, their initiative is now the same initiative as white nationalists. Very clever. Without offering a shred of evidence, you've implied that Republicans who support Mike Roe works do so because they believe I share their disdain for all things intellectual. And poof, just like that, Republicans, white nationalists, and Mike Roe works are suddenly conflated, and the next thing you know, I'm off on a press tour to disavow rumors of my troubling association with the Nazis. Far-fetched? Far from it. That's how logical fallacies work. A flaw in reasoning or a mistaken belief undermines the logic of a conclusion, often leading to real-world consequences. And right now, logical fallacies are not limited to the warped beliefs of morons with tiki torches, and other morons calling for more dead cops. Logical fallacies are everywhere. As I type this, A Democrat on CNN is making an argument that says, because Thomas Jefferson owned slaves, those Republicans now opposed to tearing down his memorial are pro-slavery, and therefore aligned with the modern-day KKK. That's a logical fallacy. Over on Fox, a Republican is arguing that any Democrat who has not yet condemned the senator from Missouri for publicly wishing that Donald Trump be assassinated, is guilty of wishing for the exact same thing. That's a logical fallacy. Yesterday, on the Science Channel, Neil deGrasse Tyson, a noted astronomer, tweeted that the ability of scientists to accurately predict the solar eclipse was proof that predictions of global warming were also accurate. That's a logical fallacy. Then Roe Beach slapped the guy. Want to hear another one? Imagine something like this unfolding over on MSNBC. Good evening, America. Our top story tonight. Chuck Atkins is a racist. Why? Because he can't spell. Just look at his grammar. In a recent post on Mike Rowe's Facebook page, Mr. Atkins, while bemoaning America's global academic standing, not only misspelled elitist, he used tenants when he meant tenets. He neglected to use a hyphen in anti-intellectual, and he misplaced several commas and apostrophes. But why is he a racist, you ask? Simple. Because everyone knows racists are ignorant. Chuck Atkins is clearly a poor speller. Poor spelling and grammar are signs of ignorance. Ergo, Chuck Atkins is a racist. Boom. The matter is settled.